Hello and hello. Woo! We are so excited to take a center
Yes.
stage and owning it with Lulu, Jacqueline Lulu Brown.
Hey.
We are on set. Can you believe that? In the good old Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm so excited to be here. And we're just going to be having some candid conversations. So
Yes.
we're going to juice you up with this session, but we
Mhm.
have multiple sessions that you got to check out. This is our start, but you have to check them all out. What we're doing is we want to set you up for the year. We want you to shift your mindset. We
Mhm.
want you to open up your mind because there's some things that God is calling you to do in this season
Mhm.
and in this year. And you've been asking Him. You have been privately asking God to do these
Mhm.
things and you've been praying. And if you don't believe in God, you have been quietly wanting these things. And now the universe or God is talking back to you because he's got these crazy women right here that's going to encourage you to not only enter into liberation time and be unleashed. This woman is talking about radical ascension to the next dimension. And so and so we want to talk about, what does that all
Yes.
mean? What does it mean to be liberated? What does it mean to be unleashed? What does it mean to be radical? What does divine prosperous living, what does all of that mean in radical ascension? What's the next dimension? And
Mhm.
so, what we're trying to do here with taking out our busy schedules and our time is to really encourage you to go after all
Mhm.
that it is that you desire and to find what they've been calling. I'm not a trendy person. I don't really know the words that people are using. I'm kind of a loner out here, but I believe it's what they're saying is tribe. You have to
Mhm.
find people who think like you. And what we're just doing in these conversations that we've been having on Own It is just to say to you, hey, this is how we think. And if you agree with us or any of this resonates with us, come along this journey with
Mhm.
us. We want to support you. We want to uplift you. We want to be your strength when you feel like you're fainting at the knees.
Mhm.
We want to be there to hold you up. And some of the things that we do and the programs that we offer can provide that for
Mhm.
you in probably a more organic,
Yes.
more personable way.
Mhm.
And so my girl here is, I'm going to date us. She's headed out to Morocco. She's getting ready to
Yes.
leave out of here and she's getting ready to lead some radical women in
Yes.
Morocco. And she is an international speaker, facilitator, coach. She has been all over the world, and I really enjoyed earlier this year going with her to Dubai. So I got to witness her firsthand. So it's not like I'm saying I'm talking to you from a space of, I've seen her online, I've seen what she's been doing. No, I've actually gone with her, and she's given me the grace to actually facilitate a workshop while I was there, which was such a pleasure. We had so much fun. Oh my God, the pictures speak volumes. But I'm going to digress so that my girl here, my sister here, can share with you about what she has for the coming year for people to participate. You got
Mhm.
some workshops, some live events. We schedule out for the
Mhm.
year. We don't wait and just kind of randomly plan things. We kind of
Mhm.
strategize. We've already left out of the strategizing season, which starts for
Mhm.
me in like August, September, October. I'm finalizing things, bringing things into order, and then December we're really celebrating. So share with them about what you're doing in Morocco. Is it too late? I mean, you only got a few more days, but she going to Morocco, but share with them about what that experience is really going to be about. How did that happen for you?
Okay. First of all, thank you so much. It is a pleasure to have you here, just outside the ATL here in the studio. And I just love and honor you being here. What does that look like? Well, let's go to how did we get to where we are now? And it really started with, I'm going to say, um, fire shut up in my bones. And this is when I was in
Mm.
corporate. And there were just things that I saw. And as I was ascending and evolving, because the thing that people should understand is that we didn't wake up like this. This was a process. This was us really developing and investing in ourselves and wanting to actually ascend to that next dimension, not being in the grind. I've heard people say, the grind. Oh, I grind and I grind hard. Well, that's why we've got fibroid tumors. That's why we've got onset diabetes, heart conditions. We're burnt out. And so, as I was going through my process of awakening, discovery, transformational healing, because needed a lot of that, and actually ascending to the higher levels that God was taking me to. So as I was doing that, I actually saw that I was not the only one on the planet that needed to do that. So I'm kind of looking out at our listening audience. I wasn't the only one that needed that. And I had that burning down on the inside that what I'm here to learn, I'm here to teach. And I was in corporate and I was in technology and engineering at the time. But here's the rub in that type of field is where it's very easy for you to lose yourself in, quote, what the world defines for us as success. And I made up in my mind that I'm going to color outside the lines. I'm going to throw it all away, all of the indoctrination. And that sounds hard, but that's really what it is. You're being indoctrinated from the time that we come out of our mother's womb. We don't want to admit it. And then we're quick to say, I'm not in a box. Oh, I don't function in a box. But sometimes we don't know what functioning in that box really is. And it was that burning desire that I started to do the work that I'm doing now. I did that for, I want to say, 25 years, literally 25 years before I made that transition out of the corporate world and into what I'm doing now, which you so eloquently explained. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And when we look at places like going to Dubai and going to Morocco, it's an environment that aids in the transformation because you are somewhere that is totally outside of your culture. It is totally outside of what you're used to, and you're able to see things from a different perspective. And when people say, well, why are you going to go all the way to Dubai? What's all the way to Dubai? It's Dubai. You get on a plane. Why? Because it's a 12-hour flight versus a 5-hour flight to LA. At the end of the day, what difference does it make? It's where I wanted to help women do their transformation in such a different place. Now, I will say that the fact that when I was in corporate and I had worldwide responsibilities, going to those different places, studying the culture, and wanting to learn, having a desire to learn about the culture, and getting to a place where I realized there's nothing authentic about, we say authentic and we throw this word out there, authenticity.
Right.
And then I was kind of like, wow, there's really nothing authentic about what we do.
Right.
And the reason for that is because, and I'm talking when I say what we do, what we've been shaped and molded and taught, because we were brought here. And those of us, the original indigenous people that were here before the colonizers, we still were sort of put into a place where our ideology was taken away. And we were forced into something that's really not us.
Right.
And I'm going to take that a step further to say it doesn't necessarily apply only to African Americans. It applies across a lot of different cultures.
Yes, it does.
And it was going through that transformation of understanding what's different across all the continents in the world, having people of those cultures actually reporting to me, but being a leader where I was really there to ensure that they became leaders.
Right.
And in that, I wanted to do that in their, I'm going to say, native culture.
Right.
I didn't want to go over to India and help develop people that were on my team or outside of my team based on what Americanized business is. I wanted to understand who they are at their core, because that's the authentic part.
Right.
What's behind the mask?
Right.
I do those features behind the mask. What's behind the mask? What's deep down in there? And because I had taken myself through that process, I knew that I couldn't take them through the process without understanding each and every individual culture. So that's why I have retreats in places like Dubai, Morocco. Let's see, we will be going to Africa. We're going to be going to Africa. There's many places over there, and Morocco is in Africa, but we're going to be going to other parts of Africa. And actually, I am going to go back to India. I love
can't
India.
wait for that.
Yes. And so we're going to, as well as the islands, but a lot of people vacation there. And so I try to not just keep repeating the same places. Now, what could people expect when they get to Morocco? One, they're going to first, let's really wake up and analyze where we are, who we are, what we're doing, and look at those things that we may be blind to. And one of those things is burnout, corporate burnout, community advocacy burnout, not-for-profit burnout, running your own business burnout, and not knowing that we're in burnout, because we don't really understand the depth of burnout, fight or flight. Sometimes we're not grasping, and so we're operating in that, and we don't know that.
We're unaware.
Exactly. And then we're going to do some discovery. We're going to do the transformational healing, and the best part is people are going to come back with a high level, because we were only there for a week, so we can't give you a detailed strategic plan.
Right.
But we are going to walk people through a high level strategic plan for 2024. So they're going to come back with something in their workbook that they can actually start with in 2024.
Right. Wow. You hit a lot of things, and you know how I am. I love to take notes because I want people to really dig in. This is not about having just a conversation that's wonderful and all of this. We want you to begin to think. And so when you think about taking someone to, you were talking about being in corporate, and I think that we can all relate to that, being in a business meeting or a meeting with your leadership and feeling like, not trying to toot my own horn, but I think I can do a better job at this. We've all been there.
Say that again.
I can do a better job than this.
Yes.
Right. And so, and you want to be a voice, but when you open up your mouth to speak, it becomes controversial, or you're deemed at being problematic. And not just going along with the flow. And so you digress. You say, hey, I'm not the boss here. Let them do what they do. Or some people, they lean in, and that's great. You lean in. I chose to take the entrepreneurial route because I'm like, why, why join them when you can do it yourself? Go and do yourself. And so when you are in that specific situation, you talked about ascending. I remember you saying you ascended. In order for you to begin to become self-aware, you have to actually come outside of yourself so that you can ascend above your circumstances so that you can begin to see clearly. That's an emotional separation. You have to separate your emotion, but you teach that when you do that. And in order for that to really, really, have a full effect, is you got to leave where you're comfortable at. You got to go away from everything that is distracting you and pulling you. And it's unfortunate that if you go nationally, people still have access to you. When you go international, you are going so far away that you can't really use your cell phone, or you got to worry about connection and all that other stuff. Or you're very cautious about using your cell phone because you don't want to run up a bill that you're not familiar with, international cost and things like that. So it forces you to go to a set aside place. And in order for you to ascend to the next dimension that you've been yearning for and really, fighting for, you want this, you really, really want it, but you're not willing to commit to it because we put ourselves last. And we can't just say women put themselves last. Men do the same thing too. But women, you put yourself last, and then you are wondering why you're sick. You're wondering why you're taking blood pressure pills or you're taking all kinds of pills, is because you have not created the necessary boundaries. And when you become into a circle like such as this, and when you go to a set aside place, you start to begin to focus on what matters most. And what matters most is what you have been delaying, what you have been putting off, how you have been restricting yourself and your performance. You have restricted yourself from tapping into and unleashing your unlimited gifting, talent, the very purpose that God has called you to, the very thing that the universe has been calling you out to. And you're frustrated and you're wondering why. Why am I bitter? Why am I indifferent? Why am I angry when someone responds? Because you're burnt out. You're burnt out and you're in conflict with what you know should be your life. And you have time. As long as you have breath, you have time. And now is the time. If you have the money, get on a flight and go to Morocco, or you could check out our websites. You could check out our websites to see where we're having the next conference or retreat, because we're going to be having them throughout the year, just for this very reason, for you to get away from your kindred, away from your family, away from people, so that you can get built up and strengthened up to go back and no longer compromise, right? No longer sacrifice who you were really meant to be. Just because you have a husband, just because you have a family, if you don't have a husband and other circumstances, does not mean that you don't have the right to still live the life that you desire to live. And there is a way of doing that. What's beautiful and about Lulu and the international thing is, once you go to another culture, you have an appreciation for why they do things, their traditions. You want to know more. You have more respect for people that you see in the workplace, but you really don't know what their culture is. By going over to other countries, you actually get to see how they live. You get to see, and then you appreciate your own life even more so. You should, or you will go home and make some adjustments to your life. So exposure opens you up to becoming more and more of who you are meant to be, because it causes you to become more and more authentic. You start to say, well, what do I really like? Do I like that? Do I not like that? I tell you, I've never been to India, but I love Indian cuisine. I love my Indian tea when I go. I love my naan bread. I love my chicken tikka masala. I like my sagwala. I like all of that stuff. Whatever else there is, I love it. The potato with the big long roll, and the peas in it. There's different regions. So just because you go to one Indian restaurant does not mean you've eaten all Indian food. Indian foods are different regions. Some eat meat, some don't eat meat. So it's different. But when you go on trips like this, it does ascend you. You start feeling like royalty, because with power, with knowledge comes what? Power.
Yes.
And with power comes what? Confidence. And you feel like, oh my God, I've been here, I've been there. There's something about this. So don't just take it like, I don't have to go to Morocco, and yeah, you do. You really, really do. You really, really have to see what's going on out in the world outside of the US. So why should people, I tapped into this a little bit, but why should people test the waters? Why should they go out?
It's growth. It's all about growth. It's all about elevation. And if you want something different, you have to do something different. If you're going to continue to do the same thing over and over again, thinking that you're going to get a different result, well, guess what? That's the definition of insanity. And you have to be willing. And you talked about stepping outside of yourself. You talked about going to other cultures and seeing how they grow and what their customs are, versus going in as if we've got it all. And so I'll share really quickly about a particular experience in India. As I was going, and it was time to go to lunch, and two of my coworkers, and these were women at the C-suite, my coworkers, we went out to lunch and they weren't eating. And so I said, okay, you guys aren't eating lunch? And they said, oh, no, we wanted to make sure we bring you out to lunch, but we're not eating. And I said, do you mind me asking why? And they said, well, we're fasting. We're on a 30-day, we're in the midst of our 30-day fast for our husbands. And I said, well, talk to me a little bit about that. And they said, well, we set aside a time for to fast and pray for the success of our husbands. So this is a one specific thing that they're doing, and with one specific purpose. And there's other things that cultures, even including us, we fast and pray for. And it's important for a husband to be successful, because it's a very hierarchical culture, not in a bad way. It is a important responsibility for the man in the family, in the household, to actually make sure that they're providing, their life is successful to a point where they are actually building and leaving legacy. Now, remember, there is a tremendous amount of poverty there. And there's a focus on education, success, ascending, and making sure that they are not leaving generations of poverty versus elevating, and now there's generations of growth and wealth.
Wow.
And that experience in hearing that, because I'm be perfectly honest with you, I am a licensed reverend, and I had never, with all of our church, and I'm not trying to be smart, I'm just being raw and real, because that's what you get with me.
Right.
If you don't want raw and real, I'm not your girl. And as they say, I think and I'm like you with the cliches, I'm not that chick.
That's it.
So as I was thinking about our culture here, and I said, wow, now I'm being very transparent. I said, wow, I'm quick to pray, and I'm going to say, sick God on my mate, my husband, like a Doberman pincher. God, you know, you need to go and you need to straighten him out. And God, you know that what he said wasn't right. And not really looking to say specifically for his success. We wait for people to get sick. And then, we pray, God heal them. But that's reactive. That's being on defense versus offense. And I said to myself, wow, I have never known anyone within my culture, my faith, to say, I proactively fast and pray for this. Now, I'm sure there's some out there. I never experienced it. It wasn't something that I was doing. And I found that very interesting. I found all of the different faiths that are in India. I explored them. And rather than demonize and throw in people's faces, they're pagan worshipers and idolaters, I really got a deep understanding of each of them. And in that, there became a level of mutual respect, because I am recognizing and being respectful of their culture. If there's a particular holiday, I'm not going to, this is, you need to be on call for this. I'm going to make sure that the guys that are in the UK or in France or even over in Israel, in the US, I'm going to make sure that they're covering so that we are respecting that this is their time.
Right.
It doesn't make a difference that they're working for an American company. I took that totally out of the equation.
Yes.
And some people may say, well, that's not standard business practice. I'm going to look directly at our audience. I abandoned standard business practices, not from the book of rules. Every company has they give you the manual and you got to follow the manual. I'm talking about I threw out this ideology that is forced upon us. And I didn't force that upon the other cultures.
Right.
I embraced their culture and thereby helped them to ascend. And actually, that's why I had the team that outperformed the other teams. If you want people to become great leaders, I didn't say a good leader, I said a phenomenal leader. If you want to be a leader of phenomenal leaders, and if you want to help people truly ascend to their highest self, then you have to understand what is it going to take, because we're individuals.
Right.
And so it was going into that place that enabled me to do that. And I'm going to just let everybody know, none of this is easy.
No.
None of this is easy. As you pointed out earlier, you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to step outside of who you are in the box that you say you're not in.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be willing to step outside of that and be open to, I'm going to look at this from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise you, the results that you're looking for, as long as you stay open and put in the work, you're going to get it.
You're going to get it.
It can't help but happen.
It can't help but happen. It can't help but happen. And so that's going to close us out for our first session here on location at Jacqueline and Lulu Brown Studios, honey. Because when I say to you, this is a studio setup. I mean, it is magnificent. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, yes, it's gorgeous. It's so much fun here. I mean, I've really had a good time. And I've been here. We've been strategizing for the coming year. I'm thinking about all the things and ways that we could bless you and help you to ascend to the next dimension and to help you become liberated and unleashed. When you, and I'm going to close out with this, Jacqueline talked about how it's important that you speak to your people. That's why this is important. That's why you got to get outside your comfort zone and you got to see a world. You know why? Whether you have things that you've been believing God, putting out there that you want for your life. That's why Own It is about your life, your career, and your business, because you are the person and your person is your life, right? So we can't talk to you about career and business if we don't help you with you. So this is your life. The platform is really, it's your life. Own it. And own it means to take control over it. You're not going to be able to control everything, but you can do one thing for sure. You can control yourself. And so when you really want a difference, you got to make the difference. And that difference starts with yourself. And so we talked about going away. Why is it important to do these international conferences, these international retreats? And then also too, you want to make sure that you're with the right people, because you want to be with people that don't just give you some work, projects, and not to say that we have to eat too. We have to eat. And also too, the reason you pay us is so that we can give you the experience that you're looking for, so that we can have access to all the resources that are necessary to make sure that you make it to the finish line. So putting that aside, you go to these retreats so that you can be opened, right? So she touched on a lot of diversity and inclusion. So part of being diversified and learning how to include and seeing people for people, not for differences, is by going and being immersed into other cultures, and being led by someone who knows, not only just knows how to get from the plane to the hotel, but knows how to navigate inside the community. And that's Lulu, man. She amazed the people in Dubai. Okay. She's been to Dubai so many times. I know it's like 18 or 20. I don't know the difference, but she's been to Dubai so many times that even with our guide was impressed because she knew more history about Dubai than the guide. And so when you're dealing with someone like that, that's authenticity. They're not faking it till they make it. They don't need to make sure that there's a guide there. They can actually guide. I think we got into the cab and went a couple of paces without a guide, because she knew how to get us to the market, to the old soup. She knew how to do all of that stuff. And so what we're saying to you in this season is get where people where you could touch them. You can touch them when you're at a retreat, that you can talk to them when you're going through a crisis. Not that we're therapists, we're not, but we can direct you to right help. that you're going to need, that you have a backing, that you have the support that's needed to not only get you up and running, but get you to the finish line and stay in relationships. We've been in relationships with our people for years. And so, because that's what this is about. It's about building relationships, forging communities, and tribes that help. High performance teams are successful because of how close they are and how deeply rooted they are in the group goal. And so I say that to say, when she said that, she said, I have to buck the system that says we got to meet the status quo. And I got to see these people for who they really are and respect who they are before they even got into the organization. This is who they are. And I have to respect that, and I have to honor that, because our traditions and our schedule and our holidays are different from them. I'm in the Dominican Republic right now. Our holidays are different from the US holidays. So guess what? I've got to adapt. I've got to migrate into the system, and I have to adapt. And they also have to adapt to me because I'm American. I'm not Dominican. I'm American, but we have to have mutual respect. Mutual respect comes from our commonality of spending time together, being immersed in different cultures and different ideologies. We don't all have to think alike, but we have to get the bigger picture and how we work together, how we respect each other. And that's why her team could perform the way they did, because high performance teams operate like that. They care about each other, they work together. And as you are forging forward in life, you need a high performance team. You need people around who get you, who understand you, and who support you the way you are. Going to show you some things that you need to adjust to get better, but they are going to understand your uniqueness and what you bring to the table. In your career, you have to know how to navigate so that you can get to the people who are going to support you in your career. And by having coaches and having a community that talks to you about experiences, life, you to understand why SWOT analysis are so important for you personally as well as in your career. How you can do a SWOT analysis to assess the people that you're working with. What are their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And how do you know how to what? Influence
without authority.
Woo, girl. How you influence without authority. Yes. There are some techniques. You need to have reinforcements. You need to have that support system. So I'm going to digress right now. I'm going to show my girl how to close us out. Lulu, if you go up just one tab up, okay. We're going to go out. This has been a pleasure. No, come back down. Right up to where it says 58.
Oh, okay.
There you go. There we go. And we're out. We love you. Click on that, girl. Show them the way out.
All right. We're out. And I'm learning because I'm always learning to elevate. There you go. Bye for now.
See you later. Be blessed.